What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Spider-Man PS4 review. I'm here with Joe.
Hi.
We're both 100% complete with the game, max level, all that. Have like 30, about 30 hours, 30 plus hours, maybe for me. I'm not sure about Joe. Bottom line is, we played the game a lot. Okay. Now the first question we're gonna get into, just to start before we go in depth, is was this game worth $60 to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you think was it more than you expected? Was it just what you expected, or was it not as good as you expected?
I think it was a lot more than I expected. I don't know. I was trying not to get my hopes too high when the game was like about to come out, and then I was looking at the reviews and I was seeing like all these 9 out of 10s, and then I was getting myself hyped up
Yeah.
even more. But just like I think what kept it where it just felt like there was more and more content is the way kind of like how the story was layered and how all throughout the game, even when you're like the last like 3 levels, you're still opening up new things.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I felt really good with that point. Like it overpassed my expectations and what I wanted to be in the game.
See, I'm a little different than you, okay? So my overall feeling of the whole entire game, it's not as good as I thought, but the story definitely was beyond my expectations. I thought the story would be average, and I thought everything else would be really fun. But I think we're gonna get in depth in this later, but I think the side missions and the research stations really held this game down for me to be like, yeah, it lived up to my expectations. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because my expectations were really high because like Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel hero, and just like Insomniac, when I heard that Insomniac was making it, like I was on board, and I was just hyping this game up so much. And to say that it's not as good as I thought isn't a bad thing. Like it's a, I mean, it's a bad thing, or it's not a bad thing. It's a bummer for me, but I mean, I hyped this game up so much that even if it like slightly disappointed me, like it's still not a bad game, is what I'm trying to say. Let's get into what surprised us. So the things that surprised me, like right off the bat, that I knew nothing about going into this game, that surprised me and that shocked me was the draw distance. This is the best open world draw distance I've ever seen on a console. And I've played quite a few open world games. A lot of them are usually like foggy in the distance. It gets a little bit more cloudy. Like GTA does that a lot. But this game, if you're playing in the day, there's like barely any fog in the distance, and you can definitely see the building that's most north if you're like on the top of the building that's like most south. If you get what I'm saying. Like you can literally see across this map. It's insane. Like that blew me away. And how about you?
So what surprised me mostly is how invested I was in the story. Like I cared about these characters.
Yeah.
Like I cared about the relationship between Doc Ock and Peter, and like I knew where it was going, and I was like being able to help him out and create like his legs or arms, or like it was really like interesting to me, and just all the relationships between, even with like Martin Lee,
Yeah.
like it's just I was invested in the story, and like when Aunt May dies, like I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I actually got pretty emotional. Like I didn't cry or anything, but I was like,
Yeah, I thought like once we got the serum or whatever, the cure, I was like, oh, so we saved Aunt May. And then there's that scene where Peter's like deciding whether you should put the serum or save all the people here, and like he didn't put the serum, and I was like, oh wait, does that mean Aunt May dies? And the next thing is like her heart monitor goes flat. I was like, oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So you
it
were
was interesting.
surprised? That kind of like,
Yeah, like
oh, I saw that coming.
when he like didn't when he was thinking about putting the serum into her whatever bag thing, like once that moment happened, I was like, Aunt May's like actually gonna die right here. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just kind of like I just wasn't expecting that whatsoever.
Yeah. Second thing I put was photo mode on release. Um, Photo mode's really good in this game. I'll get into it later on things that they should add to it, like emotes, but we have like a separate category for that for later on in the review. So yeah, I just liked how photo mode was on release because usually games add that like a month in.
Um oh yeah, what surprised me too, like my second thing was the puzzles. I know it sounds kind of dumb, but
Oh
like I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
expecting puzzles to be in this game,
they were fun.
and I at least expected to like like I was going out of my way to do these puzzles. Like the puzzles were really fun.
Yeah, and they weren't really easy too.
Yeah, they were really challenging when it got to the end. Like not like really challenging, but it was just fun to get through them and like just beat them. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it was just like
That
a
like
fun little break.
yeah.
One I wrote down was how good the night lighting was done. The lighting in this game is, well, okay, the lighting at night is phenomenal. Like it's so realistic of how these buildings have how you can even look into the buildings. That really shocked me. Like I was not even thinking about that. But when I was swinging around at night and I was like wall crawling, I was like, hold up, I can see like a couch inside this room. Like I can see a desk. It's not like really high quality or anything, but the fact that like there's people that like even design and took time out of their day to like be able to look in through those windows was like really impressive to me. That was like one of the first things I was like, wow. But yeah, and also the lighting of how just the street lamps and like just the out like even the ones that are kind of by the windows, like the ones that aren't from the lighting from the inside, but like the exterior lighting, it's really like it bounces off the walls like really good. Like it's really realistic, and that just surprised me. And the last thing I wrote down was story, but you said that too, so. Now we're gonna get into web swinging and like your overall. I wrote down over before we get into like positives and negatives about the web swinging. I want to get the overall feeling that you have because I feel like web swinging isn't just like something that you can positive and negative. I feel like it's also kind of like the feeling of the flow and all that. So my overall feelings were the web swing at its peak is when you're wall running up a building and then you press X on the top ledge and then it shoots you out over like the roof of it and then you shoot off that building. Like that is so satisfying. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
when you hold down R2 and then there's like an X on the top of your screen and then it
And you just
shoots
absolutely
you.
launch.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love that. And then and also when you're swinging and you land perfectly in between two buildings like in an alley and you're perfectly centered like oh. But something else kind of has to do with the lighting during the daytime. Um so the day cycle, I'll get more into this later on, but like the day mode, like if you go to the research station and put on day, it has too many shadows. Like I feel like the sun should be like directly above so there's not really shadows because there's already enough shadows in the sunset one. But like the shadows are really hard, and it's like dark. Like it gets dark and then it gets bright again, and then like it's kind of nitpicking. It's kind of a personal preference thing, but like it doesn't. It's just a lot more eye candy when there's like no shadows, I guess, because it's more vibrant. My overall feelings for web swinging is sometimes it feels basic, but you can make it to where like it's definitely something that you can get better at, and it'll be more satisfying. How about you?
I thought the web swinging was really smooth. Like just the feel of it, like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'll go IGN here. It made me feel like Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? Uh but what felt really weird is like you know when you unlock the ability to do flips and like
Yeah.
360 and stuff like that, that looked really awkward and
Yeah, I did.
unnatural.
It did.
And like it was like you can do this stuff for XP, but like
You get
there was
4
just no
XP?
point. Yeah, I get like 2 XP for a front flip 500 feet in the air. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I good eye on that cuz I forgot to write that down. Because you do like this cool animation, like if you like, press X and like you'll do like a flip, but then once you hold down what is it, circle and triangle and you
Yeah,
start doing the
circle
flips,
triangle.
it's like this abrupt animation and then it goes to that flip and it doesn't look smooth.
Yeah, it looks really awkward. Like it's like you're floating in the air and you have no momentum, and all of a sudden you're doing like 4 front flips like in a row. Like it just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, that was noticeable for me too.
Yeah,
All right, so let's get into swings, positives, and negatives. I kind of stated some of these, but I do have extra ones. The positives I just wrote satisfying wall run to the edge, and I also wrote the web zip where you press both triggers and you zip to that area, and then you can press X and like boost. Like that's really good for momentum, and that's really fun. If I want to nitpick, when I boost, when you time it right, there's like this huge cloud of smoke that appears with this like boom like sound effect, and it's just kind of like it doesn't feel as silky smooth with that, I guess, because like you have that huge cloud of smoke. and it's just like, did that bother you or no?
No, I like that.
Oh, you did?
It was like satisfying, just that boom sound, and you're just like absolutely launching.
All right, so I guess it's a personal preference thing. I wonder if anyone else. Well, I've seen comments that didn't like that, but I wonder like what the ratio is on that. Oh, something else I liked about the web swinging was I like how when you hold down, like there's an ability that you can hold down R2 and X and you can do like this super jump, or if you even run with it, you can kind of do like this huge leap. And so it's really helpful for when like if you were to stop a like a thug crime going on and like you have to stop the car from like crashing or whatever, and then you're on the floor with like all the citizens or the people, and like it's kind of hard to get your momentum up, but when you hold down that R2 and X, like you go flying and you already are having that speed that you want. I really like that. Negatives were the inconsistent animations. A lot of times when I would be swinging through it, I'd do like a side flip and then I would go to my next swing and then do the same side flip I just did. So like it's repeated animations. So it doesn't feel that complex. I feel like they could have done like more web swing animations for the timing of letting go, because I know that if you let it go at like 90 degrees when you kind of like want to gain your momentum or whatever, you'll do like this twirl flip and then or it does like a kind of a side flip. It's really hard to explain through like words, but I feel like there's only two animations for when you let go at a certain point. And another negative is sometimes when I would jump off like Avengers building or the other tall buildings, I would be going like 80 miles per hour, right? Like straight diving down. And then when I would swing, it would totally ruin that speed. Like cut it like 40 miles per hour. Like I felt like I went from 90 miles per hour to like 40 miles per hour. And if I'm diving at 90 miles per hour, I should swing and go launching at 90 miles per hour. But sometimes it would break my like velocity there and momentum. And so that was kind of awkward at points. And I feel like there should be a FOV option because they have it in photo mode. But so pretty much what the FOV would do is it would zoom into Spider-Man a little bit more because I feel like he's a little too distant the way that it is now. So with this, the buildings will feel more tall and more massive and not as. I feel like the New York would feel more personal. Like it's weird how cameras like just a simple FOV would make you feel that much more immersive. But I don't want to compare this too much to Batman. But Batman's FOV is pretty close to Batman, and you still feel immersed. Like, or that's why it makes you feel immersed into that city. But yeah, it'd be cool to see an update with the FOV thing just to make the buildings feel more massive and to scale. What about you?
One thing I know it's not really web swinging, but the crawling, like wall crawling,
Uh huh.
was sometimes very awkward control wise.
Uh huh.
Like changing directions, like the game like would just not allow you to go down, and it would just like stick to the side, even though I'm like down all the way on my analog stick.
Yeah, and you'd have to
And
like
that was really
jump.
frustrating during like stealth missions and stuff like that, where I wanted to wall crawl and get back up, but it was just being very annoying. So that's just another thing, even though it really isn't web swinging.
What were your positives for web swings?
It made me feel like Spider-Man. Um,
The
and
animations between like the water tower and like the construction tubes.
yeah.
That
When
was
you like you go
dope.
through the helicopter and stuff like that.
Yeah. You do that like slow motion twirl. That's dope.
hmm
I forgot to write that down. So next is combat, and I have a lot to say about this. Okay, so combat could either be stupid fun or very not annoying. Well, I guess kind of annoying. There's like a lot of little things about combat that could make it so much better. But here's what I wrote down for the positives. The creativity. The amount of like different combos you could do in this game are insane. You can hold down square, you'll punch them in the air, and then you'll spam your web shooters. So then now they're stuck, and then you can use that like force one, the one that like just bursts out in air, and then they go flying into a wall and it sticks to the wall. Just combos like that. There's like the amount of creativity, like even pressing circle and square, like you'll go bouncing off the wall that's near you, and then you'd punch them. That animation's really dope. Like pulling the environment, whatever's like loose in the environment around you, and then throwing it at the enemy is always fun. Just the amount of like options and the ways you could go at combat in this game are really fun. And if you make up your own combo that looks really dope, that's a really, really cool thing about this game. The gadget selection as well. I really like the variety. They could use a little nerf, cause there's a combo where you can do the anti-gravity. I think that's what it's called. But the one where like you shoot it at the ground, everyone floats up, and then if they fall, you can shoot a web grenade, and literally everyone gets stuck to the ground, and it's an instant death. Like I've taken out 13 people at once doing that, and that's a little too easy, you know. It's kind of fun, but then at the same time, you feel kind of guilty because you're like, wow, that was easy, and it feels like you kind of cheated.
But the thing is too, with that like cheat in a way, it's not really cheat, but like with that combo is like you don't really unlock that until like the very end of the game.
Yeah,
Like you have to play through all of the demons and like almost every Sable mission without
yeah.
that.
What did you write for positives?
Combat wise, yeah, like so many different amounts of combos, and like it's fun just mastering the different ways to play. And like even though it's Spider-Man and it's a character, everyone plays it differently.
Yeah,
Like there's no one way that you're supposed to play
yeah.
Spider-Man in this game.
Because like
There's so
everyone
many
has their own
different
style.
options. Yeah. Like all my suit gadgets were all built up to build up focus, and my focus would just go to finishers all the time. And I just be able to wipe squads out and do it in style. That was like my thing. That's what I love doing. And I
I
know,
have a question. Did you feel
yeah.
the focus bar was kind of too hard to fill up, I guess, if you didn't have that like special ability on? Because they have three different levels to the focus bar, and I felt like I barely went to the third one. Were you like that
Oh
too?
yeah. Yeah, I never got to the third one.
Yeah,
Like
like
ever.
the only time I went to the third one is when I had that special ability on, like the perk on. But
Yeah.
either they needed to, because I feel like they restricted that because of the whole health thing, like you regen your health with the focus bar.
Hmm.
They might have been better off doing a health bar and a focus bar, like a combat bar and a health bar. So they could have balanced that better. It's not a huge thing, but it's just something. The last thing I wrote for combat positives, oh, were the different enemy types. How you have like a right shield, you have like a dude with the whip. I hate that dude, by the way. Um, what else? The taser, the like the baseball bat, or but there was a lot of different enemy types, and then you have the brutes, and you like each one you have to have a different playstyle on, and it just adds more thinking to the situation. So I thought that was a positive. Anything else you want to add for positives?
No, not really.
Negatives. I had to adjust my camera a lot during combat. I got used to it by, like level 20. Like I had it down to where I could move my camera without it being annoying, but if you're having casual players play this game, which there's a lot because it's Spider-Man, they're gonna find that hard because I've actually punched a lot of enemies off screen that I wasn't even seeing, um, just because the camera wouldn't rotate on its own. So that was definitely a problem. A lot of people, like everyone agrees on that. Like I've watched like 5 reviews on this game, and everyone has said like the camera's a problem. So I know it's not just me. Another negative I wrote was the sounds. I felt like the punching sound didn't really feel that intimidating. It didn't feel like it had weight behind it. Like Batman did sound perfectly in combat. It felt like you were like cracking this dude's skull. Like it felt so satisfying, and especially when you would knock the dude out, it would make like a noise. Like you knew that dude was knocked out, and it just felt so. It made you feel like a beast. In this game, your punches feel like I don't know. It's just very baseline, average. It's just like a um. The only really satisfying is like the takedown when your focus bar is full. Like that makes a cool noise. But but yeah, like the punching audio isn't loud and it's not intimidating. Like Spider-Man's strong. Like come on, that was something. Did you have that same problem or no?
I don't really have a problem with sound. Like I didn't play Batman, and so like the sound seemed fine to me.
Yeah,
But I don't know for other players that have like played Batman and they know the intensity of his punches and the sound it causes. Like I know that could be a negative, but for me it was fine.
oh, this was one I noticed in the second half of the game. Okay, so this pissed me off. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna try to compare this, or I'm gonna compare this to Batman. So in Batman, there's a thing where if you're more than like 50 yards from the dude, you can do a glide kick, and you'll gain momentum as you're like gliding to the guy, and then so when you hit him, and you're going really fast, it'll instantly knock him out because of that momentum. So, but in Spider-Man, there's been moments when I'm flying by like a bank robbery or like those like robber like the people are outside just on the streets, and I'm swinging through New York and I'm going really fast. Like I'm going like 50, 60 miles per hour. Okay, I don't know, like, but it's fast. Okay, I don't know the exact miles per hour, but I'm going really fast, and then I'll web zip. I'll press triangle, and I'll web zip to that guy, and I'm flying, bro. I'm flying to this guy, and when I punch him, it's just like, like it does the same damage as a normal punch. So I feel like they could have or they should have done a momentum punch in this game to where you like the more speed that you have towards that web zip would do more damage or even instantly knock him out. So that's something they could probably add in to an update, but it kind of like was a bummer to me. So the next thing we're gonna go on to is map, like just the map in the world, how'd it feel and all that. So what were some positives you wrote down?
For me, it's all positives. I don't really have any negatives with the map. The world is really immersive. You can go on the street and just walk around and high five random people and do basically whatever you want. You can see inside the buildings, just like the world itself and the buildings around it fits web swinging very well.
Yeah,
And I have no problems with that. I thought it was so much fun just being in this Insomniac's New York.
yeah. Some positives for the map for me was I was not expecting Central Park to be so detailed. So like when I was first playing through the game, I was like, this game looks freaking beautiful. Everything's detailed. And then I came across Central Park, and I was like, I was expecting it to be what I expected. What I expected. I was expecting it to be what I expected.
That's pretty mind blowing right there.
I was expecting it to be like just grass, a little bridge, maybe like a little river front. Just
I
like,
expect to be just grass.
but uh, but yeah, I was expecting like grass, trees, and like some rivers. Like I expected it to be like okay, but bro, this thing was like detailed. It had like little what's it called? Little pods that frogs are on. Those little leaf pods in the pond. It had those. It had like it had like textures in the water. I don't know how to explain it. Like it looked like dirty water, like or like your
Murky.
typical yeah, like your typical park water, I guess. And there was a lot of fancy looking stuff in Central Park. Like the amount of detail in Central Park is stupid, bro. Like I was not expecting that. The photo locations were cool. Like the whole that's kind of a side mission, but it kind of blends in with the map. But like the whole how like you have to go take pictures of this area, and it kind of like ties into Peter Parker's photography, um, character trait. So that was cool. And I also wrote down like the whole lighting and looking through the windows. And yeah, any negatives for you? You said no, huh?
No.
Some negatives, which are pretty much just nitpicks. Some of the apartment looking areas, like typical, not very tall buildings, felt copy and paste. And then some of the towers, like the tall towers, like the designs were very just basic, like glass, squared. I feel like that's not a problem, but there's kind of like a lot of towers, and a lot of it feels like really familiar. And so it'd be sick to see like some like wacky looking tower. So like oh yeah, this is that tower. Like I said, these are nitpicks. These aren't really big deals to me, but just little things. All right, now let's get into the story, which surprised me the most. So the story positives I wrote down was Doc Ock's character development. You kind of knew, well, obviously, you highly suspected that he was going to become bad, but like seeing his progression of it and hearing him like call you when you're swinging around the city, of him being like, Peter, I got another breakthrough. I just noticed that why are we limited to our limbs and prosthetics? Why can't we have a bunch of limbs? Like hearing him slowly go insane and more obsessed was really it sold it really well. I wasn't like nothing felt forced at all. And the fact that it was voiced by Rigby from Regular Show made it that more special for me. But I feel like Doc Ock was perfect in this game. I don't think I had any problems with him. And Doc Ock was probably my favorite, definitely my favorite villain in this game by far. and probably one of my favorite villains, if not my favorite villain in Spider-Man. Anyway, that was cool. Every voice actor was good for the most part. I felt like 98% of the time. Yeah, so some lines were really cheesy for like Mary and Peter, but other than that, every voice actor really like brought it here. And
Especially Jameson.
oh yeah, yeah, who voiced that? That was amazing.
Reinhardt. That was Reinhardt, dude.
What? That was
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. There needs to be DLC where we can like meet him or like at least see him in person. That'd be funny.
Beat him up.
Spider-Man. Anyway, I'm gonna say one more positive, even though I wrote more, but just like I feel like I've been talking for too long. Every villain character design in terms of like their costumes and their overall look was done really well, especially Scorpion. But no, they did every design here really well. Rhino looked sick. It looked intimidating. Electro. I feel like Electro would probably be the weakest out of all of them, but it was still good.
Yeah.
Doc Ock. Doc Ock was scary, bro. Those arms were long, man. Oh, Vulture. Vulture is pretty basic. It was good. You know, it did its job. No villain looked off or character looked off in this story.
Yeah. Just character design in the story, the character development, especially with Doc Ock. Story wise, with Martin Lee, you can understand why he's like, well, like you see how he became Mr. Negative and his hate for Norman Osborn. And I thought
Yeah,
it was really cool how like the thing that tore Osborn and Octavius apart was Martin Lee. I
yeah,
thought that was interesting, a good tie-in with all the characters.
yeah. Because they
And
created him,
yeah,
so that was cool.
yeah.
It wasn't predictable. That's something that's rare. It wasn't predictable.
Mhm. The only thing I really found predictable in this game, like I was like, okay, obviously that's coming. Well, like
Doc Ock.
obviously Doc Ock, but even like when Mary Jane got the spider on her, I was like, oh, okay, Miles. Like I knew it right away.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
that's kind of
when the spider crawled on her, I was like, what if Insomniac has that bite her to shock everyone? So we have Spider Girl or Spider Whammon, and like Miles was just a tease, but nah. How'd you feel about the cutscenes and the camera work? Thought that was really good.
yeah. Cutscenes look great. It was emotional. Like felt like a movie sometimes with the
Hmm.
action cutscenes and stuff like that. Like it was
Yeah.
really well done story wise.
It felt like it overall just felt professional. We never really
Yeah.
had a professional Spider-Man game. Web of Shadows. Have you seen that clip when like you're rushing? Who was it? Oh, you're rushing
It's
someone
like
to the
the I'm going
hospital.
to die thing.
Nah, it's like you're rushing someone to the hospital, and then Spider-Man is just like calm, and then you just like, "Where's Mary Jane?" And he's like freaking out all of a sudden. I was like, "What is happening?" Anyway, some negatives I wrote down. Me and Joe actually talked about this right after we finished it, but all boss fights were really easy and really quick. I didn't die at all from these boss fights. I came close to Doc Ock just because like he threw the objects faster than I thought he would, but I did not die at all in any boss. So that's kind of a negative, to be honest.
I died one time during the Doc Ock fight just because like I think I wasn't paying attention and I just stayed on the I
The,
stayed on the electric floor.
yeah.
I was like, what's hurting me?
Dude, I was 1 HP, man. I was so close.
My thing too, I wish they maybe could have spread out the villains a little farther, spread out the story wise, because I felt like once after the raft mission, like everything just exploded and it just all happened at once. It was like just a straight rush of facing boss fight after boss fight after boss fight.
Yeah.
And then you had that like section where it was just the demons.
Yeah, they should have definitely took more time on each division. Oh boy, each individual Sinister Six. Even though you fought Scorpion twice, it didn't even feel like you fought him twice. You know?
Wait, why did you fight Scorpion twice?
Remember in the dream sequences, and you're fighting a bunch of scorpions, and then you fight him with
Oh,
Rhino.
yeah. But that was like one hit and he was dead.
Yeah, but there was like 20 of them.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like they were just really quick. I don't think any boss fight lasted longer than 10 minutes. And a lot of the boss fights had two in it. Like Vulture and Electro teamed up, and then Scorpion and Rhino teamed up, and they were really, really easy.
Oh, one boss fight that did not let me down was the Martin Lee one.
Like visually, that was the coolest looking one.
Like during that fight, I did not even try to go after Martin Lee. I was just trying to like avoid the big demon thing and like kill all his little demon guys. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just wanted that to last. I was having a bunch of fun with that.
Another negative I wrote down were obviously everyone's saying this, the MJ and Miles stealth missions that are pretty much The Last of Us but way watered down.
Garbage.
I only enjoyed two MJ missions. I enjoy any Miles missions at all.
Miles was horrible.
Dude, were you annoyed by Miles? Kind of.
Yeah, he was.
He was kind of wimpy.
Yeah.
And the whole hacking thing was like, I was like, I don't know. He felt more
Yeah, I was
nerdy,
I
I
thought it was really
guess.
wimpy, and then he beat up that prisoner. I was like, whoa, okay. Now he had my respect after that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not necessarily nerdy. I think it was just his voice. His voice is kind of whiny. It was kind of annoying. Um,
His lines too were very whiny and complainy.
yeah, but the after credit scene, man, that made me laugh so hard, man. He just jumps to the ceiling.
It's like, let me show you.
That like redeemed it for me, man. There was two MJ missions that were fun. The one where you like have Spider-Man do the mission, or and then like you have to defuse the bomb. I died like 10 times there, man. I was like,
Really?
wait, yeah, because I was I don't know. I was looking at every angle of the bomb, and it said disconnected from the other side. So I flipped it to the other side, like literally. Okay, this is really hard to describe through words, but once I like finally got it, it was easy. But anyway, but that was a fun mission. And then sneaking into like when you first like when you reveal the whole Norman lab and you see like the web grenades from the soon-to-be Green Goblin, possibly. Just that whole stealth mission was pretty dope. Those were the
Yeah.
only two times where I actually enjoyed being MJ. Other than that, boring. So that was pretty much all I had to say about the story. Overall, really impressed. I would say a 9 out of 10 for story. How about you?
Yeah.
9 out of 10?
Yeah, it was just that one part in the middle that for me it dragged like a crazy amount with the demon thing.
Oh yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was
yeah.
just like another demon mission. But I talked to my friend named Chris today, and he was saying that he's more of like a casual player,
Yeah.
and he was saying that he like really enjoyed the demon and how long it lasted because he was able to learn combat and get his combat down.
For like the more advanced stuff.
Yeah, so when he went into the boss fights, he knew what he was doing
Yeah. Dude,
because like with
cause
combat, like we both picked up pretty early. So like I think why the demons lasted so long is so that the casual players could like learn like how combat works and how like you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Maybe we're just two god gamers, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Dude, cause the hardest thing about this whole game was when the whole city was locked down by Sable and the Sable bases. The Sable, everything with Sable was the hardest. Like
Yeah.
boss fights were easy. Sable was freaking Dark Souls, bro. Like, oh my gosh. Um, yeah. I hate Sable, man. Even though it's like a challenge, but still, it's just annoying. I hate freaking those jetpack. Actually, the jetpack combat is really fun, but getting electrocuted by the stupid
Yeah, when they
stupid.
drop that line thing.
Oh yeah, and then just the taser guys. Yeah. And so yeah, we're gonna finish this off with other stuff. What's some like side stuff you wrote down?
Like some of the suits I had a problem with.
Definitely.
I thought the suits could have been a lot better.
What was
And
there like 28 or 30 suits total?
27 or 28, I'm pretty sure.
How many suits do you think that are actually worth wearing out of that 28 or whatever?
Probably like 10. That like I kind of switched between
Yeah.
like with the main when I do my like main mission, I stuck to the classic repaired suit.
Okay.
Like later on, like I really just enjoyed having like that be the Spider-Man, that's my character.
Uh-huh.
But then when I go to the side missions or I'm just swinging around the city, beating up bad guys, like I would just change between whatever, like Stark, Iron.
Yeah. For me, definitely top two suits. Definitely my favorite suit is the advanced suit with the white spider. I liked it from the start, but I really loved it like second half of the game. That was that and the homecoming homemade suit were definitely like like my two most played. But ones that I would go back to and keep switching, probably around 6 suits that are actually worth going back to and playing as,
Yeah.
which is disappointing compared to like 28 or whatever it was. I wrote down the freaking worst part of the game, probably Research stations. Oh my. One mission was fun. One out of what, like 20? It was when it's not even that good too. It's when you're the spider drone and then you get picked up by the bird and it takes you to the nest. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, that was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually intrigued by a research station. The one that really pissed me off was like the barrels kind of in the water, and you had to go into the water to get the barrels out. And then you're like, okay, I'm done. And then it's like, no, spray this chemical in the water to finish it. What?
Yeah, they just felt very persistent in
Like,
their
bro,
story. They just never ended.
I'm playing Spider-Man and I'm doing chores. What is this? It
It's the
literally felt like
cost of
chores.
being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man right there, my friend.
Dude, but it felt like chores. Like I'd rather save 10-year-old getting hit from being hit by a bus or for friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. I'd rather like go to like a child's birthday party and dance than freaking spray chemicals throughout the city to, spray Febreze because it smells bad, like.
Okay, well, how else are you gonna care for Harry now that he is Venom? Okay, you ever think about that?
Yeah, side missions sucked, bro. Okay, we're going back to Batman. Side missions in Batman were villains from comic book, like Hush, Mad Hatter. Like it's really hard to think about Batman again now that I'm full Spider-Man mode. But like the side missions in Batman were still villains from Batman's universe, I guess. Why didn't Spider-Man do this? Hammerhead's not in
Well,
it.
you had Tombstone, but that was the
That
only
was
one that was like a villain.
stupid. You find him in a little garage thing. Like that wasn't fun. I mean, okay, it was all right, but still, okay, you have Tombstone, but they could have added like four mini villains, like not main ones, but at least something other than freaking. Oh, ever since the Halloween party, I haven't seen my friend Steven. And then you go to like that picture where you think it's taken. The only fun one was like the Statue of Liberty, because that actually like you had to put some thought into it. You're like, okay, it's at this angle, so I got to go more to the left. Like that was kind of cool. But then you end up doing another 5 missions of that. Like
Yeah, that was
what?
pretty dumb.
Yeah, the side
Oh,
missions were stupid.
you had a Shocker too.
That was like in the very beginning, but yeah, that was pretty fun. Well, no, that was a main mission.
Yeah, but that's just like another villain instead of Sinister Six.
Yeah. Side missions, research stations weighed this game down for me. If they would have made research stations at least somewhat fun, and side missions just with like low key villains instead, like little mini stories, this game would definitely have a higher score. We'll get into the final verdict soon. So, what do you think about the soundtrack?
I liked it. It did its job. It was really amazing when you first heard it and you're web swinging. It got stuck in my head for a couple days where I was just like
Oh,
in school bored and just that was just blasting through my head and I couldn't do like my homework and stuff like that. You get what I'm
the
saying?
the intro like rock song
No, no,
or like
no.
that
Like
like that
just the main like
theme.
yeah, the main
Okay,
theme.
dude, because like putting on the suit in the very beginning and having that like rock type indie like I feel alive, whatever that song that was dope, bro. Like it felt very Spider-Man-ish, and it was just like a good.
It made you feel like Spider-Man.
It was a very upbeat, warming song to get into when you're flying out the window. But the overall soundtrack to me didn't speak to me. Didn't speak to me. It didn't hit me, as a lot of people made it hit them. Maybe that's because I'm spoiled from playing Skyrim like a month ago, and that's like every song on Skyrim was like just beautiful. But soundtrack over here did its job. It didn't. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't great, in my opinion. Something else I wrote down was the day and night cycles. Okay, so when you finish a game, you can choose day, sunset, and night, but there's no dynamic option. Okay, so what I did, I would go to day. I looked up straight into the sun for 5 minutes straight. No clouds were moving. The sun wasn't moving. It was just static. It's kind of lame, to be honest. There should be a dynamic mode to where you can see the sun come from, from morning to night. That'd be really cool. That they should have done that. And then also there's side missions where there's lightning in it, and it's like thunder. There's like thunder at night, and there's lightning. They could add a lightning mode, and they could add a raining mode because it did rain like twice in this game. So those are things they could add that would really up it. All right, so something else that's kind of funny is there's like parks in this game, like with slides and swings, and I was swinging by one and I like stopped on it, like I just like was walking around it, and then I was like, bro, there's no children in this game. Like there's like four adults on the playground. I was like, bro, there's no kids in this game. Like I just noticed that, and so it makes it so much more funny when you have those kidnapping crimes and you pull a grown dude out of the trunk of a car. And he's like, "Thanks, man. I don't like tight spaces." It's like this grown man. I don't
There
know
was
why.
a line whenever you finish a kidnapping, he goes like, he's like, they should make a new word. I don't know why they call it kidnapping if it's not a kid.
Oh,
And like
really?
he made a couple puns like that. Yeah, there was like two puns like that about like kidnapping, but they're all like adults. But I never realized like there wasn't any kids whatsoever. Huh?
Yeah, there isn't. There's not
Kind of
dogs
mind.
either. If there was dogs in Central Park, that'd be cool. Anyway, anyway,
One thing further down the line, like DLC, I kind of want to see like Daredevil in there somewhere because like
that'd be
there's so many
dope.
Daredevil Easter eggs. I just want Daredevil to be in the game spec because it's like one of my favorite heroes for Marvel is Daredevil, and like to get like my favorite Marvel hero, Spider-Man, and just like one of my top with Daredevil, that'd be like absolutely amazing. Like, but that's just like my perspective. Like,
Yeah. Stuff I would add. So, do you know how when you're walking into like Doc Ock's lab, it does like a over the shoulder camera angle? It's not like
yeah,
you're not the center of the screen. It feels a lot more personal in that camera angle, and it would be cool if you're walking around the city for long enough that the camera would go into that when you're like high-fiving people. That'd be something cool to add. Just it feels a little bit more like personal, I guess. Something else I would add is like emotes for photo mode. Like a lot of people are doing photo mode, and it'd be cool to like have a pose where you like drink coffee or something. Just something like stupid like that, like some little like cool stuff, some ideas.
yeah.
That'd be cool. I had two more, but I accidentally backspaced it. Okay, so if you were to explain this game in a sentence, what would it be?
I have a boner.
Is that it?
Yeah, you said a sentence.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
declarative statement right there.
All right, so if I explain this in a sentence, the perfect setup game for a Spider-Man sequel. There's so many things that they could build from this game onto the second one that they're gonna make.
There's
Anyway,
still villains like Sandman, Mysterio, Lizard, like
yeah, bro, like, oh gosh.
on top of probably having Doc Ock return.
Oh yeah, 'cause he went "Arr" at the end.
He was heated. He spilled his lean.
But yeah, I feel like this game is far from perfect, but I feel like it's such a good game to build on upon for a sequel that could be perfect. Maybe the buildings that were under construction could be built now, and maybe they can pull a web of shadows to where a part of New York is like destroyed, covered in symbiote, something creative to where it doesn't feel the same as the first one. Um, they could do something like that to where they can just copy and paste the same New York, just add more buildings and make it feel different, but still like New York. And they have villains to work with, and they also have experience from the first Spider-Man that they could just work on, and then they can take the feedback from this game and maybe not have research stations or MJ type missions in the next game. So I feel like this game is perfect for a build up for a sequel. Okay, final verdict time. Yes. Do you want to go?
Sure. 9 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
The overall?
Overall is a 9 out of 10 for me.
Hot damn. Okay. You're gonna be surprised with mine. This is the strongest 7 I could give it.
Dude. Dude.
This is the strongest 7 I could give it, or a light 8. This could make it okay. It could be a strong 8 with dynamic weather mode that they could add. Just all the little things that they could um do. Like if they added the FOV, if they added the dynamic weather, this game could be a strong 8. That's how much like that means to me. Like
Dude, shut
the
up,
dynamic.
bro. Oh
Bro,
my
I'm
god.
saying I'm
You're
saying
dropping it a whole point because the sky doesn't have clouds in it.
no, it has clouds. It just doesn't move. And the sun doesn't rotate, bro. The sun, there should be a day and night cycle. It shouldn't just be static. You know what I'm saying? And the FOV thing would really up it up for me. And just really the main things that weigh this game down, research stations and side missions were definitely big things. Halloween party going missing as a side mission for like 5 times is kind of stupid. Doesn't really show a lot of effort. The research stations felt like a chore. I shouldn't be. No game should make me feel like a chore. Just like the little things that add up, it feels like a strong 7 or a light 8. It could be a strong 8 with the things that I mentioned.
But did it make you feel like Spider-Man?
Dude, when I was doing the story, missions, like grinding the story missions, this game was a 9. But since I was like balancing story, okay, so for like the first half of the game, I was balancing story and side mission, story, side mission, and it was like an 8. And then the second half, when it really got interesting, I grinded the story, and I was like, bro, this is a 9 out of 10 game. Like, this is almost perfect. But then once I wanted to get the 100% completion, I had to do 5 side missions. I had to do like 6 more research stuff. And it's just like, bro, this really isn't fun. After the story ends, it's not a lot of fun. The bases are fun to redo. Like, I've redone a lot of bases. Like, the construction bases in particular are really fun. But, like, after the story, like, once the story is completed, like, yeah, it's just not that fun. Like, web swinging's cool. It's addicting. But, yeah, like, honest feeling, just the feeling, like my gut feeling says strong 7 or light 8. That's why I say like it's a perfect setup for the sequel, because the sequel could honestly be a 10 out of 10 with if they fix like all these little things, and with the years of experience and like the confidence from this game, and they'll probably even raise the budget. And it's not as good as I thought, but I'm still pleased with it. So you gave it a 9, right?
Yep.
Damn, bro. You need to play Arkham City, man. You're gonna give that thing a 15. All right. So, any final thoughts? Final things before I end it?
No, I think I'm all good.
Alrighty. Same with me. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you stick to the end, because this thing's gonna be around an hour, type smiley face hot dog. That's about it. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll do more in the future, hopefully, on video games that we are really passionate about, really excited about. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.